Great. Pierre-Yves, welcome. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. We are close to the cocktail, so it's a good time of the day.
Well, I'm really excited to have this conversation with you because you are one of our most advanced customers when it comes to using AI. Do you want to start off by telling us about some of the AI use cases you have in production today?
Yeah, sure. So you probably know Pernod Ricard by the name and one of its famous brands, but we are also present in 60 countries across the globe, and we own brands like Absolut Vodka, Jameson Whiskey, Ballantine's, etc. Soon it's Christmas for your gifts. So we have 5,000 sales reps, which are every day on the road, visiting bars, hotels, supermarkets, hypermarkets. And one of the first use cases we started in 2020, so that's 3 years before ChatGPT, was to create a recommendation for those sales reps. So every Monday morning, they will get a recommendation of the, for example, 27 outlets they should visit this week. And for each outlet, they will get precise recommendations of what product to push. For example, they identify that Havana Club is slightly underperforming in one supermarket. In another supermarket, they might identify that promotions are usually not performing as well, so they might be recommended to check what's happening on the shelf, etc. And this has helped significantly the growth of sales because in all the countries where we've implemented the solution, we get more or less in 2 years, 3 years of growth, which is pretty interesting, especially in the current times where the business is more complex. So that's one of the use cases of AI we've implemented, but we've also deployed solutions to optimize our marketing mix. So for example, if I'm the marketing director of Absolut in Germany, I can obtain, based on 3 years of historical investment in marketing and sales to consumers, a tool which is telling me how much to spend on TV, on social media, on activation in stores, and that helps more than 20 countries across the globe on those solutions.
Wow. How did you deploy AI so successfully to all these different countries? What was the journey like?
So for me, one of the key topics on projects is to get the right focus. And so to focus on a limited number of projects. So for example, on AI, we have a maximum of 8 projects running at the same time. So they can be in deployment for the mature ones, they can be in initiation, MVP, etc. And so the key part is to select the right use cases at the beginning. And so this is what we did when we started on AI in 2020. We had about 72 different digital or AI projects we could be doing, and we went down to 6 to start. And so that selection process made sure that we have a return on investment that initially is a theoretical one, and that we prove extremely quickly on the MVPs. So we don't do a POCs. We do directly to MVPs in a country, actually in 2 countries to make sure it's replicable in the future. And we select only things that have a potential to scale enough to be profitable and to have a higher return on investment compared to the cost. And for me, that's one of the key things which got worse with the arrival of ChatGPT and GenAI in general, because today you don't have 100 potential use cases, probably 1,000 or 2,000. And so we are extremely stringent in the way we are selecting the use cases on which we invest, and make sure from the beginning that there will be a P&L impact. So not just, for example, a chatbot that can help to save 0.5% of a percent here, 3% here, etc. Because the sum of 0.5 plus 0.3 plus 0.6 is 0 in terms of P&L, and you have the cost of the project on the other side. So I see Romain in the room, who's our finance head, and so it's been really key to make sure that every project has a key ROI that we measure over time, and this is one, for me, of the key success factors that we have on projects.
Great. And if you summed up all the ROI of these different projects, how much do you think it would be today?
Yeah, so each project has a specific way of measuring its ROI. So it can be additional sales, it can be a saving on advertising and promotion investments. It can be being able to do more. And I think that the projects which are most complex to sell, which would be the ones it's about saving number of people. For example, for the sales rep, what is interesting is that because the sales reps became more efficient, in some countries we actually added sales reps. So it's the case of Turkey, for example, where we had the double impact of having the benefit of the tool, but also we decided to put more people on the field. So we removed a little budget for marketing, invested in commercial, and we got the double impact of both more efficient people that bring, with more people, actually more growth of sales. And so this is the things which are key to pilot with the local teams, so commercial teams, financial teams, marketing teams, to make sure that we make the right business decisions based on the usage and the impact that we see.
That's amazing. So AI is creating jobs, it sounds like.
Yes.
Great, great. And so tell us a bit about the technology, how did that evolve over time as you go from prototype now to production and having these use cases really running?
Yeah, so this is when I'm going to talk about Retool. So one of the key things which is important on those projects is to get adoptions. So as I said from at the beginning, we don't do a proof of concepts, we go directly for a minimum viable product in a country. And we know that the user interfaces are one of the key factors of adoption. And so using solutions of low code or no code are really useful because, for example, if I'm coming back to my example for the sales reps, if we had waited for the time to include the solution within the Salesforce automation tool, it would have been 18 months more, so you can say goodbye to the ROI. So what we did is that we developed the engine, the AI engine that creates the recommendation, and we created directly a web app with Retool that helped to test extremely fast the solution. So we are talking about a few days / weeks to develop the first user interface. And also we can iterate extremely fast. Even one anecdote is that on the first countries we deployed, during the training, in the morning we were presenting the user interface, and people said, okay, I don't understand this term, this is not well positioned. And in the afternoon, we were able to show to the users, which are part of the testing, the changes, and that increased adoption in two ways. People feel listened to because they're part of the building of the solution, and of course the user interface is more adapted. And the good thing is that we could do that in the different countries. And the difference between this and doing vibe coding, for example, is that here with this kind of solution, we have something which is production ready. So it's already integrating with the authentication, with the security, and so you don't have your IT team which is pushing back on another technology coming in. It's actually already integrated within the platforms, and you can deploy extremely fast. And after 6 months, 8 months, when the solution is actually really working, you can say, okay, I'm going to integrate some of the things within my Salesforce automation tool. And it takes, because they have usually quarterly deliverables, it takes 1 year, 2 years to integrate. But you get already 90% of the business benefits, and then you do the final integrations later when you're sure it works, and when you're sure that the user interface, the workflows, etc., are stabilized. So this use of the combination of the AI engines, etc., plus having a front end that you can develop, change quickly, has helped a lot in the speed of deployment, but also in adoption.
That's great. And as a CDO, how do you feel about the term vibe coding?
So well, it's super impressive. I don't know if you've been to those platforms like Lovable, etc. So you can develop something in a few minutes. However, the problem that you get really quickly is that you cannot go live with this kind of tool. So it's good to do a demo. Actually, I've seen some software vendors presenting to us things which were developed with Lovable, but it's good for a demo, but not going to production, because then you have all the usual things that you need to do when you go to production. You need to secure your data, you need the authentication, etc. And this is what is the limit today, because maybe in 6 months it's going to be fixed, but today that's the limit I see in using the vibe coding. I don't know if everybody knows the term. It's those platforms, you just describe the user interface that you want, saying I want on the right a menu, on the left I want this and this to show, and it's really impressive because you get something in minutes, but you cannot go live. So it's good for a proof of concept. It's good to show some users how things will happen, but you cannot go live with them. And as I was mentioning, we don't do proof of concepts, we go directly for MVPs, and so this is why we use directly the low-code solutions.
Yeah, great. And when you think about the technology stack that you use, what plugs into Retool and what's on top of Retool, what's below Retool, what do you use Retool with?
Yeah, so we use Retool with a number of things. So we use a lot of proven open source algorithms. So if you look at the top 20 algorithms on GitHub, you don't have the pushbacks or might be a security problem, etc. So we use proven open source algorithms. Great thing, they are free. They have a large community of support. So most of the core engines are developed on open source technology. Then for the backend, we have a mix of snowflakes and Databricks. So nobody that is in that fight. We have both currently. So we use both of them for different parts of the architecture, all the storage of the data. And then we have all the pipelines, the different parts that are getting into the tool. We use a lot of Python for the coding. And the great thing also about Retool is that you can integrate with a number of different platforms. So they have, of course, the plugins into the large language models. So you can develop a chatbot extremely quickly, and also do the workflow. So when you need to do a sequencing of different calls to large language models, etc. So you can orchestrate those within the platform. So you can develop first chatbots in a relatively quick way.
Awesome. And last question from me is, what's the most surprising thing about developing these AI applications? What would other CDOs disagree with you about?
For me, I would say when we started on the project, I underestimated the complexity of getting adoption. Because when you're coming to a country, to a marketing director, and you're saying this tool will tell you how to invest your money, and they've done it for 10 years and sometimes in different ways. So first, there's a tool potentially proving them wrong. So you need to explain how things work. You need to make sure that you have people participating in the design, because if you want to have recommendations which will be accepted, sometimes you need to put a lot of business rules within the tools. So coming back to my example on the sales, when we first deployed to Spain, first recommendation came out of the tool, and the first user said, your tool is really shit, it won't work in Spain. I said, why? Well, it's recommending to go to a discotheque on a Friday. You never go to a discotheque on a Friday. So of course an algorithm cannot guess that because it's part of the business rule or the tacit business rules. And so you need to integrate a lot of business rules in addition to the algorithm clustering, the different things that AI does perfectly within a tool. And actually it's good to involve everybody, a lot of people within that building of the solutions, because then it's part of their tool. And so never underestimating the complexity of adoption, because a lot of people are afraid, and so we need to do a lot of education also on what AI works, but also where it doesn't work, because there's plenty of times when it doesn't work. And so also recognizing the parts, and for example, for the marketing tools, we are saying, please adopt only 80% of the recommendations, because you need to create new history, new data, you need to make some bets so that it will fuel the future of the algorithm. So this is part of the things I can say from my surprise of developing those and deploying those tools.
Great, thank you, Pierre-Yves. You guys really are the forefront of AI, so it's great learning from you. Thank you.
Thank you, David.